Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of the syndicated talk show, People of Distinction. The talk that gives you an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, alcoleenterprises.com for more info. Email me through benji@alcoleenterprises.com if you'd like to get involved with what we have going. And as always, please continue to like and follow our broadcasts. People of Distinction is internationally syndicated solely due to the love and support that you all continue to give. We're available across all major distributors, and as long as you keep following, we're going to continue to put out the content. Now sit back and strap in, because on the line with us today, we have the impressive Alicia Williams-Saffold. Now we're going to be discussing her incredible book, She Grew Anyway, a memoir of healing and growing in the quiet. Man, it's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's a lot of other places, but I'm telling you, you want to gather everything that she has in store? And trust me when I tell you, Alicia, man, she got a lot in store. You got to check out her personal site. That's bestillandgrow.com. There, gather more information on her, on this book, on the two others that she has. But in addition to that, because we're not done yet, check out her podcast, okay? It's a weekly podcast entitled the She Grew Anyway podcast, and it's one you're going to want to pick up, man. It's one you're going to want to check out. It's one that you need to add to your life, people. Head on over, check it out. Once again, that website, bestillandgrow.com. And I quickly want to take this opportunity and point out the fact that she was brought to us by Author Reputation Press. So for writers out there listening in, if you've gone through your process, and now you need some assistance moving the book you just developed, head on over to authorreputationpress.com and gather all the ways that their fantastic team is well equipped to help you do just that. And people, listen, it is an absolute pleasure to have Alicia here on the line. Man, what if everything you've ever been told about, that quote unquote pushing through is actually missing the point, right? Now follow me here, right? Because we're all taught that growth needs perfect conditions, right? It needs the right plan. It needs the right time. It needs the right support. But what about the growth that happens in the cracks? That happens in the dry seasons when no one is actually there cheering you on? People, if I've captured your attention, man, you got to listen in, because that's where we are today, okay? Author and coach Alicia Williams-Saffold, man, she's here to flip the script. Her book, She Grew Anyway, is a testament to defiant growth in life's driest seasons, man. We're going to be talking about releasing false responsibility, finding clarity through obedience, and why your quietest moments, man, sometimes they hold the loudest power. You heard her already. She's cheering me on, and I appreciate it. But I'm going to pass it right back. Here we go. Let's dive into this discussion. Alicia, welcome to the network. How you doing today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. My hands raised up here. Oh, my goodness. That was amazing. I was like, okay, yes.
Alicia, I was following your lead, girl. I was following your lead, and I appreciate the support here. You know what? Here's the thing. Just a quick side note. For any future guests that we have on the network, if you ain't amping me up like she just did, I'm taking you off. All right? We're not even moving. That's it. No, yeah, Alicia.
That's all.
Welcome to the network, though. Listen, joking aside, you have done something magnificent here. I was following your lead because you laid a wonderful roadmap for me to follow, but I recognize instantly when the opportunity presented itself to have you on the network. Of course, we're doing our due diligence, so we got to make sure we research all of the guests and find from a marketing perspective, how could this be beneficial to our audience? And girl, it was a no-brainer. Your story is something that is deeply personal to you, but it's wonderfully educational for everyone else. So we're looking forward. Yeah, listen, we're looking forward to this. Let's jump right in. First and foremost, tell us more about yourself, Alicia.
Okay, well, I'm Alicia Williams-Saffold. I am a writer, growth coach, corporate trainer, and founder of a training and development firm. It established 2014, and I've been excited. So a lot of what I'm doing now has a lot to do with what I've been doing in my company.
Yeah. Well, listen, more success to you in 2026. Let's dive into the book. I got a lot of questions, but let's learn a little bit more about this incredible book, She Grew Anyway.
Okay. She Grew Anyway is about healing while life is still happening. So for me, it's my testimonial of what was taking place and during my time of stillness. It's not a book about having everything figured out. And it's about choosing growth, even when you're in the middle of hard things.
Love that.
It encourages women to tend their hearts, stay honest with God, and keep growing, even when the circumstances don't look ideal. And that was hard for me. I realized once I wrote that book, I literally wrote the journal for me. The journal morphed me into my memoir, and I was like, I need to share this, published. And here we are now.
I love it. Okay. Well, listen, I think you answered my next question, but I'm going to ask it anyway for clarity's sake, because I love your title. Okay. Because listen, first and foremost, like the She Grew, okay, that's positive. It's something that we can all get behind and we support. But that anyway, ooh.
Yes.
Girl, when I was looking at it, I was like, it hits. Because it speaks to defiance, right? It speaks to defiant growth.
Oh.
And that's so crucial. It's pivotal. So let's find this now. And again, I think you answered it, or at least started to go into it. But what was that specific moment for you when you realized your story wasn't about thriving despite your circumstances, but actually growing within them?
It's right. Yes. You said it. Ben, you said it. It means growth in spite of the circumstances, in spite of pain, in spite of disappointment. It's about making the decision to heal and evolve, even when life doesn't slow down and make it easy. That's what it's all about. She grew anyway. You're going to go through some things, and that's the fact. That's inevitable. But can you get through it? This book helps you.
Love that. Okay, so now let's pay it forward here. Okay, let's start giving some advice for readers, or I guess let's keep it open-ended. I was going to say for women specifically, let's keep it open-ended, because a lot of this, I think, is a copy and paste thing. And what I don't want people to do is look at this and be like, this is primarily geared from a woman's perspective, so it must be for women. Nah, man, scrap all that. This is something that could be copied and pasted. I don't care where you are, who you are, and your circumstances.
I can tell you, my aunt, she read the book. She sent me back this testimonial, and it was her that said it first, because she was one of the first people that read the book. She said, this will be good for men too, Alicia.
Yeah.
I am floored right now. And basically what she said, I love everything. I'm having this trouble with surrender. So it has different areas throughout the book that's for men and women. But I speak to women because most of the part of the book, I'm saying, sis, this is for you, sis. Take your time, sis. Be still, sis. And I wrote a letter to sis that's in the book. So She Grew Anyway, of course, it would be for women. But it's my story that I know that others would be able to follow right behind me. It will not be easy, but there's a guide. There's a book. There's a journal. There's a podcast.
I love it. And people, that's why you got to check them all out. Okay, that's why you got to check them all out. I guess this would be the perfect opportunity to plug it. All right. Remember, the website is called BeStillAndGrow.com. The other books you're going to want to check out is available on the website, but the podcast, the She Grew Anyway podcast, man, listen, you guys got to get involved. And that's where I wanted to go next, right? Because we're talking about paying it forward. So again, gender aside, but utilizing, I guess this would kind of now start to bring in the journal, but really from your experience and how you were able to grow from, like, you talk a lot about things that growing from stillness. And I think that's so pivotal. So let's approach it now from that particular perspective. Like, what is, if you're offering advice to those listening, what is the first step into stillness that feels productive? Because I think in our society, in our world, like if we're not constantly on that go, if we're not on that hamster wheel jumping around and running from one thing to the next, it could feel like we're not improving, we're not productive, but that stillness is so crucial. So talk to us, what is that first step towards approaching that?
Oh, see, Ben, you are exactly right. My journal is going to come right in here. It's going to come right here. And I'm going to tell you what I did. I began to do prayer walks. So the first thing I did is isolated myself. And isolated meaning I got off social media. I was at the point where I was stressing out, posting every single day on my business platform, every single day. And there was an encounter that happened in my life where my daughter lost her friend. Her friend passed away. She drowned.
So sorry.
And my daughter was so distraught, and I didn't know how to reach her. So I began to start asking God to help me, help her. And then I realized I was grieving her as well. So in my grief, I started going on prayer walks. So prayer walks are powerful, but it's like stillness as well, because you're communicating with God. You're communicating with God. So I began to start walking and talking. And then I got the idea, let me just say what I'm feeling into my notes on my phone. Then I began therapy, because it was during that time I realized I had some trauma triggers from years ago.
Wow.
And God he literally set me down. It was so quiet. It was quiet. And it seemed like things all around me was aligning with where I was. My husband had to travel more. He had to work more because he has 3 different companies. So it was like he was busy and I was healing. Mm-hmm. So that's what was happening. And it worked out. And I can say this, during the time that I was on, I guess, my sabbatical, when I was healing, our room was being redesigned. So we slept in the guest room. So the guest room has a little area that has a chair, and it's just much more cozier than our room, the huge room that we have. So it was the ideal. So I was able to get up, go to the chairs, look out the window, and that became my little place. And I would recommend to anyone to find you a place that you can sit with God, that you can learn of Him, that you can learn of you. Journal. If it comes to your mind, write it out. And I always say, therapy is not a bad word. I went to therapy to find out all these triggers that was coming from my past, that was coming up mainly while I was in stillness. And I actually worked through all that trauma. So I know there's another side. There's an other side. There's an other side of healing. There's an other side. I formatted what we call the 5 steps of healing. And I went through those steps so I can teach it. So that's what I'm on social media doing.
Yeah.
I'm going through those 5 steps of healing every single day. I teach something, write something. I teach journaling. I teach process. I teach phases of healing. So everything that God gave me, I'm giving it back. I'm giving it back. So to answer your question, to be still is the first thing that you need to do.
Alicia, thank you, first and foremost, for all of that. And listen, you've entered into the discussion your faith, and I'm so glad you did, because I know it's another pivotal component. It's a great foundation here that you've been able to establish. Now, again, wanting to open the door and cast the widest net, because your book intersects your personal development and your faith. How do you speak to someone who's maybe spiritually curious, but they're weary?
Yeah.
So using the language of growth to meet them where they're at could vary. So talk to us. How do you approach that particular person when their faith maybe isn't as strong? They're curious, but it's not as solid of a foundation.
That's a great question. And I have that answer, and that answer is plant seeds. All I'm thinking about is planting seeds every single day, because I'll let God do the rest. My assignment is to plant the seeds. And I didn't know that at first. I didn't know that was my assignment, to plant seeds. I thought it was to go further and to coddle and convince and all those things. But I've been on this journey almost 10 months now. And maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I realized, no, I'm going to plant seeds every single day. And I've been doing that by way of social media every single day. And at first it was very still, nothing, crickets. As a matter of fact, Instagram is still crickets. But TikTok is rising. And I have so many DMs, so many questions, comments, people saying, I love this page. I needed this page. And that's how I do it. It's not preachy. Mm-hmm. I serve them a seed that says, God is in this seed. God is in this seed. Now, I wrote Be Still and Grow for women that are in ministry. Okay. But She Grew Anyway, that's for anyone. I'm planting seeds every single day. And those seeds are going to sprout in the name of Jesus. I already know that. Because my assignment, I'm going to get an A on my assignment. I'm going to show up every single day.
I love it.
And wherever she is, and I said it to myself, if it's one person, I have to tell you, when my She Grew Up Anyway podcast came to mind, I never thought I would be doing a podcast. And specifically for this platform, I didn't want to do a podcast because I didn't want it to be about what I had on, with my makeup, with my hair, or anything. But God gave me to let it be an audio. It took all of that out of it. And they can just hear my heart. They can hear what God gives me every single week. Every single week, he gives me something for them, for that woman, for that man. Yeah. And when I saw 19 views, I was like, ooh, 19 views, 19 people. Yes. So one subscriber, but they're viewing it. And I know It's because I'm not marketing, and mainly because God didn't tell me to do that yet. He didn't tell me to do that. I'm just doing what he told me to do. Mm-hmm. And that's how it happened. I started the journal. Well, I started the sabbatical first, and that began being still, healing. Then I began writing the journal for me. Basically, I did it for me. And when I realized how I came after that, it was like eight weeks later, I was like, okay, all right, let me publish this. This may be something for the women of God. So when I published it, shortly after, God gave me She Grew Anyway, a memoir. And all those things that I had written, all those voice notes that I had copied and pasted to my Word document, it became a memoir. And that's how it happened.
Yeah.
And that's how God gave it to me. So once that book was published, I did not market that book. God had me to invite 50 women into a room for the launching of those 2 books. And that day was the launch. And I had prayer warriors in there. I had women who had hurt me that I had forgiven that were in there. And I had loved ones and people that were on my team. So those 50 women, it was beautifully done. I had sponsors to come in, and it was at a reputable convention center, the Kravis Center. So it was really nice. And I just waited for God to tell me what to do. So with the sponsorships, he had me reaching out, and that was a hefty size amount to come up with, I would say. And God did it. Ben. He came. I had overflow. I had enough to give prizes, and nice prizes too, Kindles and iPods, and it was nice. It was very nice. Yeah. So what God showed me in that, and I said all that to say, is I wait for him. I plant the seed. I see what he wants me to do. I do it. That's what this journey has been about.
Alicia, my final question here for you, and I want to play off of this analogy of planting a seed, right? And I think it's a wonderful transition as we close. If you had the opportunity to step in a time machine, you can go back, you could speak to a younger version of Alicia, and you had the opportunity to plant a seed that would ultimately grow, what would that seed be?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm thinking about the younger me as you're speaking. The younger me, I was married very early. I had a first marriage. Married very young. And I would say, be still instead of marriage. Be still.
Yeah.
Period. In all aspects, be still. Wait for God. Now, 4 beautiful children came from that marriage. Mm-hmm. I don't denounce them. 4 beautiful children came from that marriage. And the ability to serve God came from that marriage. That's all I'm going to say.
I love it.
But you actually seek God.
Yeah.
Ask God first. Be still and ask God first.
People, listen, this has been such a fun conversation, and I know you have all enjoyed it as well. And there's so many gems that you can take from it. For me, I look at this and I'm like, if there's one thing that you should take, or if there's one thing that I'm taking from it, let me paint it that way. If there's one thing that I'm taking from it, is your growth doesn't require permission, man. It doesn't require perfect conditions. It can start right now, exactly where you are. In this discussion, this book, it's showing us that growing anyway, man, it's the ultimate act of faith in ourselves. I think oftentimes we miss that. And again, I'm not casting blame. I'm not casting any aspersions. Like, I get it. I mentioned before the hamster wheel of life. Whoo, my goodness, it's an analogy, but it's true. We're running constantly, and so many times, the last one we're thinking about is ourselves. Allow this book
Very true.
to refocus that for you.
Come
man.
on, preach, Ben.
She grew anyway. Man, it's a mirror, okay? It's an invitation for you. It's Amazon, it's Barnes & Noble, it's BeStillAndGrow.com. Check out the 2 other books that she's written, and more importantly, check out her podcast, the She Grew Anyway podcast. It's a weekly devotional one that you're going to want to get involved in. Check them all out and start your movement today, because your future selves are going to thank you for it. Alicia, this has been an absolute pleasure. I really do mean that. Such an honor and wonderfully gratifying conversation. Thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Thank you, Ben.